Children, every one of us try to grow and develop. When I say grow, it is physical development. I grow in height. I grow in weight. Develop. What is develop? It is mental development, emotional development, my social development, how well I develop my brain by various kinds, variety of activities. Social development, I should mix with people. I should become a part and parcel of the society. I should know how should I deal with other members in society. Social development. Emotional development. Sometimes I am angry, sometimes cool, sometimes I just become very emotional. I turn very happy. I feel very sad and I cry. Now these are all emotionals. And as we grow up, we learn how to control our emotions. An adult usually won't cry like a child. He will control himself. He knows how to control his various emotions. Even if you are very happy, you don't dance around. You hold it. You give a smile. You say, I won the match. But a child, he goes around shouting, howling. Yeah, the way he puts it across is different. Whatever it be, we all strive to grow and develop. There's the substance of life. The day you don't feel like growing and developing further, developing your various faculties, your growth and development ceases. You are inviting death. Okay, let me not become philosophic. Just as we all strive for growth and development, the country too strives for development. The country has to develop itself. We were a very poor nation in 1947 as we got independence. But today we are a different nation. We are a developing country. We say we are a developing country. We are doing well in each and every field. In the field, agricultural field. In the field of education and health. In the field of industries. Military growth and development. Space. Take any field as such. India is picture square. It is growing. It's developing. And we are all proud of it. That is what development is. Next, we'll see that. See, all of us continuously strive to achieve progress in our life. That's the paramount significance. Everyone should strive hard to achieve progress. In the same way, economy also continuously attempts to grow, to progress, providing for more and more quantities of goods and services to the people and improving their well-being. Why should a country develop? A country has to develop in order to see that it does its best from the viewpoint of the development of growth and development of each individual in the society, in the country. So by way of goods, how? We need a house, we need dress, clothes we need furniture in the house, we need a TV set in the house. See, needs are many. How far the nation is to provide people to meet their needs. So goods, services. You need lots of services. Agencies to provide you the services. In case you are not keeping good health, you go to the hospital, you go to the doctors. They treat you. It's a service. To educate, to get educated, we send our kids to school. The school provides the services, and children, they learn a lot in school. They learn different disciplines and they grow and develop. See, these are services. If you want to go to another city, you need transportation services. You need good roads for the vehicles to move. You travel. Say, nation has to provide goods and services to people in order to see that they lead a sufficiently contented life, a happy life. The nation, the government which serves the country strives hard. The elected representatives of the country, it is their mission to get whatever best they can for the children of the nation. See, ultimately you aim at the improvement and well-being of people. The process of enhancing society's capacity. The society has to turn capable. The government has to do a lot of circus for that, to satisfy its needs on a larger scale. Go to any village, they'll say, sir, we need a school, we need a hospital, we need these roads to be cemented, we need a community hall, we need a bridge to be built across the river, so connectivity will improve. We need a happy home for those who are above 70 years. We have many in the village. We need recreation facility. The demands will never end. There will be a long list of demands. What do they aim at? They all aim at satisfying the needs of on a larger scale of the community around. This is what we call as growth and development. In short, one word is enough. All these we can put under development. The nation, if the nation has to develop, the local communities have to develop. Each and every village panchayat has to develop, each and every town or city has to develop, then the entire nation will develop. So development is the mantra here. Development is the watchword here. And that is the lesson we have taken up. What is development? How should we go along? How can we measure the development of a society? How can we say whether a society is developed or not? What are the parameters? How are we to go about? All these we will discuss in this lesson. Overcoming economic problems. Is it simple? Is it easy? If that had been easy, we would have progressed by this time very easily. It is not. Lots of barriers are there, lots of hurdles are there, lot of problems are there, and we have to overcome them in order to reach the goal. The vision is there, the goal is there, we have to reach there, and it is not a simple path, easy path. You have to strive very hard. The entire nation has to put itself on the task. Overcoming economic problems such as, what are the problems? We have poverty in the country. Lot of people are suffering. They do not have enough income. They may not be having the required jobs. Unemployment. Lots of people are unemployed. They are in need of employment. Inequality. Certain sections of the people, they are well-to-do, whereas certain other sections, they are in difficulty to meet all their needs. Haves and have-nots. People who have everything, people who do not have anything. Again, haves and have-nots. The rich and the poor. See, these are all the problems that the governments at the state level and the national level have to analyze and find out ways and means of meeting and reaching at the solutions. Inequality, inflation, prices keep going up, and poor people find it difficult when prices go up. Prices shoot up sometimes. So prices have to be controlled. Inflation, increase in prices, sudden increase in the money that you have to spend for your daily bread, etc. These are a few we have placed before you as examples. If you go on enlisting, there are many problems that we have to counter. We will move to the next frame. Development. See, this is the graph. It goes up, comes down. Ultimately, it has to go up, move up. You have to make it move up. The path of progress, the graph of progress, it has to continuously move in the upward direction. Remember that. We elect governments. We post new governments at the state and central level in order to see that the country progresses well. The country develops. That's our vision ultimately. Okay, here development in our daily lives. Understand each and every word. It's a chapter in economics. Economics is a science today. It is no more an art, it's a science. For everything you have reasons. You can analyze, you can dissect and find what the reasons are. Development in our daily lives refers to the progress in a particular field. When you say develop, he has developed a lot. How? How has he developed? In what fields he has developed? You question. Development has many fields. It's not one field. When you say, I have developed over the last 2 years, in what way? The question comes. Is it your health that has improved? Or have you passed some examination? Have you learned new skills of art? Or have you been able to increase your monthly income? Have you been able to lead a good life? All these questions arise. All these being summed up, you say development. So development in itself has many fields. Progress in a particular field. Example, rural development. When it comes to a village, it's a rural area. It has to develop. Does that village have electricity? No, all the villages in the country have electricity. Does it have pure water supply? Does it have roads? Does it have a school? Does it have a hospital? Yeah. One by one, you open the pages. Questions are asked, you answer. Then based on all that I say, whether your village has developed or not. Rural development has taken place or not. I think you all have caught it. Come to the next. Social development. Socially have we developed? Are we only concerned about ourselves or we are concerned about all? Man is a social animal. We don't live alone. We are not like wild animals in the forest. We are concerned about others. We know in the welfare of the society, our welfare lies. We should always hope that the entire society should pick up. Hand in hand we should grow and develop. We cannot grow and develop in isolation. Next, educational development. You need good schools, good colleges, good educational institutions, postal correspondence, good libraries, and you need media to support you. Yeah, newspapers, magazines, books. You have 101 things again. School is at the center, no doubt. We need schools with good teachers, good infrastructure, good libraries. Yeah, many. You add up all. So, educational development. Everyone in the country has to get educated. If you get educated, you will be able to contribute well, contribute your might well to the development of the society around. Development of women. Women have not come to the mainstream. Lot of efforts are being put. And we have made progress too, there is no doubt. But still, we have to go a long way. Woman should not be a person or a citizen confined to the four walls of the house. Woman should be able to contribute to the welfare of the society. Otherwise, 50% of the citizenry are ignored. When I speak of 130 crore people, it's only 65 crore people who are active because they are men. Other 65 crore, they sit within the four walls. Will it be able to get you sustained development? If you want continuous development, if the country has to be put on the path of progress and development, you make the other 50% women to contribute positively to the growth and welfare of the society. They should, I said positively they should be able to contribute. There are numerous ways. You have to guide them, educate them, skill development, lots of dairy, it may be dairies or it may be the small scale industries in villages or khadi industry or educating younger children in nurseries, running nurseries or small scale industry. All these are the contributory factors to make women work. Women and children. What do you do for children? Are they a totally ignored lot in the country? Provide education to them. Give them the needed skills. Make them undergo total personality development. They are the future of India. They are the future citizens of the country. Only when they are educated well, they will be able to positively contribute to the growth and development of the nation. Expansion of economic activities in a country is called economic development. Economically, if the nation has to become strong, India has to become strong, what should you do? Economic activities you should start. More and more industries. More and more trade. Commerce. Activities. There should be money circulation. More and more money circulation. Lots of youth should get into the mainstream and contribute to the growth of the country. It's a big job. That's what you call as economic development. You put up industries, you build dams, you see how best you can help the farmers who grow crops in their fields. You educate them. You provide the best hospitals to see everyone is healthy. Yeah, it's a big, very big job economically making our country grow and develop. See the definition here of Professor Meyer and Baldwin. Economic development is a process. What is economic development? They have given a definition, beautiful definition. Is a process whereby the real national income, NI means national income, of a country increases over a long period of time. Say, over a sustained period of 10 years. Sustained means continuous, without a break. Sustained period of 10 years. If our country keeps showing economical growth by way of total turnover, then you will be able to say our country has economically grown. It should not be just by spurts, sudden growth over 1 month, next month everything becomes dull. Continuously, the country should be able to put up a sustained development over months and years. That sustained development points at economical development of the nation. the nation has developed. You will be able to make out. I read it again. You see, economic development is a process whereby the real national income of a country increases. National income increases, not just over 1 month, over a long period of time. Say at least some 8 to 10 years. If the country shows steady growth, you can say the country is growing economically. India is a growing nation. Economically we are growing. If the increase in the real national income is more than the population increase, then the per capita real income of the country will also increase. Now here see two aspects. One is the real national income. How much economy has grown this year? Has it grown by 5.5%, 6%, 7% or 8% over the last year? It grows by 8% or 10%. The population too has grown by 10%. Now, whatever you have earned economically will get diluted here because the population too has grown up. There are more number of mouths to feed. Our population growing year by year. See, in 1947, we were 47 crores. When we got independence, our population had been 47 crores. Today it is 130 crores. It has increased by 2.5 times. 2.5 times it has multiplied. But the country has grown economically too. And much of our growth has been absorbed by the increase in numbers. You have to provide everything for us. You have to provide food, clothing, shelter, education, health. You have to spend a lot for the upliftment of the increased population. Already you have a certain population. You have increasing population. You have to take care. So, economic growth of the country, national income grows. As it grows, the population too will be growing. You have to remember. And at some stage, you have to put a control on population growth. Then the national income that grows up will be crystal clear. You will be able to see the dividends. You will be able to see the turnout. You will be able to see the progress because population you have controlled. If the population grows up, see a family. Father's income has got doubled up over 2 years. But he has got another 2 children now. He had 3 children already. Now he has another 2 children. Whatever income he gets, it will not suffice to meet all the expenditure of the house. Tomorrow if he has a dozen children, you can very well imagine what standard of living that house will have. With 2 children, a family finds it difficult to make the 2 ends meet. If you have a dozen children, the condition will be hopeless. Economists are very much worried about this. I think you have understood this part. Population increase is a big impediment on the path of the increased national income and this successive benefit what you get. Now, there's another phase. Some countries, they prove themselves successful in proving that even the increased population is made use of by the country positively. You get them involved. Don't think they are a barrier or a bane on the growth of the country. Not a bane. You utilize them. You think the increasing population is your strength. The increased population is another strength. You have grown up. Let's use all the people in the growth of the country. Thereby, you will be able to do well. It all depends how economists treat it and how do they maneuver. Okay, we move to the next frame now. Here we will be discussing about underdevelopment. Underdevelopment. Underdevelopment refers to the low level of development characterized by low per capita income, widespread poverty, lower level of literacy, low life expectancy, and underutilization of resources, etc. Underdevelopment. India is a developing country. There are many countries in the world which are underdeveloped. You cannot feed the mouths. You don't see any relevant progress in the country. Money is not enough. There is no income. You don't have resources. Such situations put the country in a fix. You see there, underdevelopment refers to low level of development characterized by low real per capita income. The country gets real income, national income is there. Now that national income divided by the population of the country. Whatever real national income the country gets, you have to divide it by the population of the country. Thereby you will be getting per capita income. Per head, how much are we earning at the national level? If you distribute all the wealth that we are going to possess or get, over the 130 crore people, how much will come per head? This per capita income is a more significant statistic. Now in the case of India, our national income is going up, shooting up. It's going well. Even the United Nations have praised it. But the problem, you have 130 crore parts. You have to make it into 130 crore parts. When you divide it into 130 crores, what you get is a very small sum. Very small sum. But India is managing. It's managing very well. You cannot compare the Indian rupees with the American dollars. India lives for its own. Now even with regard to Corona, the entire world thought India would suffer and it will be the worst that the world would see. But India did not suffer to the extent that the world expected. Rather than the developed countries of the world, they suffered. They suffered more than India. See, why I am telling it, economics is very complex. You can't have 2 or 3 formulae and decide everything. Oh, it's like this, like this. There are lots of factors that govern economics. And each economist differs from the other. Economists differ from each other in interpreting, in explaining. The definitions change. The interpretation changes. The way we look into the problems of the world that differs from one economist to the other. How far are we practical? How far are we close to the reality is more important. See here the problems, widespread poverty in the country, then lower level of literacy. Now it's almost close to 70%. Still we have a big population which has to get educated. It was very poor earlier, it has picked up, but still we have a long way to go. Lower level of literacy, low life expectancy. 100 years ago, life expectancy in India was 18 years. A child who is born can expect to live up to 18 years. On average, everyone used to die at 18 years. Some would die at 2 years, 3 years, 8 years, 10 years. Some would live up to 30 years, 40 years. A few may live up to 60 years. On average, a person used to live for 18 years. A very poor, pathetic figure. Pathetic figure. You feel sorry for it. If a child is told you will live only up to 18 years, how sorry he will be. He has the entire life left there. Today, it is very close to 69 years. An average Indian lives up to 69 years. What a progress. from 1947 to 2021. What a progress, what a progress. People who are sarcastic and who remark about the country's progress have to be given this statistic. These things do not happen on their own. If our 5-year plans had not worked, if people had not taken relevant part in the development of the nation, we would not have risen from 18 years to 69 years. From the educational point of view of work, health point of view of work, and the country has developed a lot. People's income too has improved. Next, lower level of literacy, low life expectancy, and underutilization of resources. Let's say there are lots of resources in the country. India is full of resources. We are not short of resources. We are full of resources. Otherwise, 130 crore people would not have survived in this subcontinent. In a small place, we have 130 crore people. Out of every 6 people in the world, 1 lives in India. Out of every 6 in the world, 1 lives in India. What a statistic. What a figure. Because it's a resourceful country. The country is full of rivers. We get plenty of rain. Monsoon, seasonal rain. We have mineral resources. We have very good weather. We have all geographical, natural zones in the country. The northern mountains, the northern plains, then the Deccan Plateau plains, Deccan Plateau, then the coastal plains. Almost the entire country is habitable. Habitable. The soil is rich. You don't have the kind of soil we have in the Indo-Gangetic plain anywhere in the country. Agriculturists and scientists say it's the most fertile soil in the entire world. On 3 sides, India is covered by water. So fish becomes a staple food all along the coast. We grow wheat, we grow rice, we grow different crops. We have been successful. And even the agricultural output is going up. In the 1960s, we were importing food from other countries. Today, we are in a position to export food. In spite of population increase, we have become self-sufficient. Today, we have raised the bogey of Atmanirbhar. Everything, anything and everything has to get produced in this country. We will not import it from other countries. We have the expertise, we have intelligence, people are wise, we have the resources. Only thing we have to put ourselves into the hard job of building up this nation. So our Prime Minister has raised the bogey of Atmanirbhar. Over the next 4 or 5 years, we have to become absolutely self-sufficient, self-efficient. We should be able to run the country on our own resources without importing anything from abroad. This kind of vow or thinking, thought, being understood by everyone and working on those lines can only enable us to see that our nation reaches the sky over the coming years. So, underutilization of resources have to be properly utilized. Rivers are there, water goes to the seas. What do? You build dams. That's utilization. You know water is important. When it comes to summer, you cannot grow any crop. What should you do? Have dams, collect water and have agricultural output. Promote agriculture. However, there is a set of common characteristics of underdeveloped economies. What is an underdeveloped economy? What are the characteristics? What are the features therein, such as low per capita income? People cannot have food. Even 2 square meals a day they cannot have. They don't have enough food. That is low per capita income. Then low levels of living. Their houses will tell you the kind of huts, dwellings they have, very poor. They do not have the capability to purchase, to improve their lot. They don't have the needed resources. They don't have the money. They don't earn that much. High rate of population growth. Population growth is very high. It's just exploding. Illiteracy. People are illiterate. You don't have schools. Children are not getting educated. Illiteracy. Technical backwardness. You don't have the know-how for industries. You say, industrial growth. For industrial growth, you should have enough skilled people in the country. You have to have enough engineering colleges, medical colleges, technical colleges. You should have a big output of engineers there. Technically capable people. Now today India we have thousands and thousands of engineering colleges which are giving a big output today. You can open any number of industries and you can pull out. Now, unless you have the infrastructure, you will not be able to have this skilled population in the country. Farmers are there. Do your farmers know how to grow? Do they have the latest know-how of growing better crops, better output? Lots of aspects are there that come under agriculture, horticulture. But you need institutions to teach them, train them. They should come out with new hope. So they should have the know-how. Illiteracy, technical backwardness, we are overcoming it now. Capital deficiency, no money. You want to put up industry, no money. You want to build up a dam, no money. Now that is capital deficiency. India is overcoming that too. India has found ways and means of building up capital. Capital is money. You need money, finance for all your new projects. Dependence on backward agriculture. The old system of agriculture. Output is very poor. From that you have to come out. You should be able to get 3, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times output compared to what you were getting earlier. There has been lot of progress and improvement in the field of agriculture. Our farmers should be able to imbibe those ideas and get them executed in their fields. High level of unemployment. Lots of people are unemployed, no jobs. They don't know what to do. This unemployment will speak very much as regards the development of the country is concerned. We will fall behind, we will not be able to move ahead. We should overcome unemployment. Unfavorable institutions and so far. Institutions, unnecessary institutions. Too much of red tapeism. Things don't happen. The government itself is an impediment in the path of progress. You don't have institutions that can speed up action. Now this is all about it. Now lot of overhauling of the machinery, the country's machinery, government machinery, private machinery, that too is needed. Lot of industrial changes have to be brought in the financial field, in the banking field, in the control, political control. Everywhere we need lot of new blood. Move further. Next. Now we come to indicators of development. We understand now what is development, what is underdevelopment. You are very clear, I think. When do we call a country as a developed country? You are in a much better position to explain now. Let us see now, how do we measure economic development? See, indicator based on income generated in a country. How much income does the country generate? This has to go up year by year. We should be able to earn wealth. We should be able to add to our capital. We should come out with lots of new industries in the country. Agricultural developments, educational institutions, hospitals, roads, infrastructural developments. Now all these will add to the wealth of the country. So, indicator based on income generated in a country. We should be able to generate income. Find out ways and means of generating more and more income, and income generated should skyrocket. It should go up. Skyrocket. Indicators other than income. What are the various indicators? To work out from this angle, to know from this angle. Let us see one by one. Now, eradicate extreme poverty. Eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. No citizen should die of hunger. People should be unable to come out of poverty. Now, if everyone has been able to come out of poverty, you have been able to raise their living standard above the poverty level. They are below poverty line, you have to bring them above poverty line. It is an indicator. You have done a big job. So you have to strive hard. It won't happen in a year. You have to put effort over, sustained effort over years. Continuously. We need to get responsible governments one after the other over years. And they all should work hard. People should join hands. Okay, the second one, achieve universal primary education. A pencil is here. A pencil. Every child should be trained. He should know to read and write. As he grows up, he becomes someone who can really contribute to the growth and development of the nation. So, universal education for all. All the children of the country should be in schools. India has been able to achieve a lot from this angle. Even the United Nations praises India over all these. The efforts we are putting and the framework we have is democracy. People elect the government and the government works for them. This experiment has been a great success in our country. Third one, promote gender equality. Consider both men and women equal. Don't think women are a weaker section. Many people have this well set in their mind. What can women do? Women are a burden on the society. They are useless. They will not be able to contribute. This is a wrong proposition altogether. Men and women are equal. Both can contribute. Both can do well. Today we are taking in women into our Indian army too. Women are becoming pilots of the plane. In what way they are inferior? They are doing their job very well. They are getting into police. They guard the country. They become engineers. They become doctors. And the country has been able to be very proud over their participation and role. So we have to lay more and more stress on women's education and giving them their rightful part in the growth and development of the country. So promote gender equality and empower women. Empower them, give them power. A few becoming MLA and MPs won't mean much. 50% of the MLAs in the assemblies, 50% MPs in the parliament should be women. Then things would definitely undergo a big change. Next, reduce child mortality. Lots of children keep dying even as they are born or within the first year of their birth or within the first 2-3 years. Child mortality, mortality means death. Children's death rate should come down. It should come down to zero. It may not come down to zero practically, but it should come down. It should go almost close to zero. Then improve maternal health. Women who are admitted to the maternity hospitals or who are giving birth to children, they should be cared for well. They should be cared very well. You have the Asha workers working in India. Asha workers, their prime duty is to attend all the women who are in their maternity period. They go, guide them, vaccinate them. They give them all the suggestions, tonic bottles, tablets. They check them for iron deficiency. We see that healthy children get born. See, beautiful ideas, all these ideas which a welfare state should conceive. We have conceived it. India has understood its responsibilities very well. Next, you have combat all diseases. You have the doctors saying here, all diseases, HIV, combat it. AIDS, HIV, AIDS. Malaria, combat it. TB, tuberculosis, combat. Fight it out. Corona, we have proved a much better nation which has been successful in combating Corona. All the other countries they have expressed their wonder, surprise as to how India has been able to combat Corona and has come out successfully. Then you have the environmental stability. Ensure it. Environmental stability. We have to see that the environment is conserved for the future generations. We have to maintain our surroundings clean. Land, water, air, sound, from all angles we should see that we conserve our environment. I won't go into the details. I am only telling you what are the aspects where parameters will show us how far we have progressed. When I say just welfare, development, we cannot understand much. When you go all these aspects one by one, you can understand very well what is true development. What is true development that we anticipate in a country like India, which has accepted democracy as its tradition. And the last one, global partners for development. India or our country is not the only country in the world. We have another 192 countries which are members of the United Nations. They are all members of this global community. We don't live just for ourselves. We are interested in the progress of other countries too. We believe in peace and cooperation. We don't want to live alone. We want to join hands with other countries and see that we all live like members of a global community and aspire for the development of the entire earth, entire universe. So, globally, we should think globally. See, they are all putting their hands together. We are one. Say, today, India is exporting vaccine to other countries. Our vaccines, we are not keeping it only for ourselves. A part of the vaccines, what we are developing is going for all the to all the neighboring countries of India. It's not that we want to combat Corona in our land alone. In other countries too, we are interested in seeing that they too achieve success in combating it. So, all these parameters, ultimately 8 are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are 8 Millennium Development Goals. 2021. This 21st, in this 21st century, It is 21 now, year 2021. In the 21st century, these 100 years, these are the 8 different fields where we should be able to do very well. To see that peace prevails in the world, cooperation is required. We should be able to aim at hitting the bullseye. All the countries should join. Next, human development indicators. We discussed about that only now. We will just think as to what stands significant for India now. The Human Development Index, see, HDI. See, if I want to say there's this is about 1.5 feet, it's not enough. Modern technology says measure it properly with a scale. Measure it properly. Don't give an approximate answer. We want to measure it. What's the length and breadth of the screen? Measure it. What is the intensity? Have a measure, have a scale for that. What is your body temperature? You have a measure for that. Okay, from that angle, you have to have an index. For everything we have an index. Human Development Index, HDI, all the first letters put together. It is a statistical tool. It's a tool to calculate, to find out, used to measure a country's overall achievement in its social and economic dimensions. I said India is developing. How much have we developed? How far have we developed? Where are we? What is the progress we have shown this year, last year, year before last? We want to compare. On a graph we want to compare. You need indices. Index is singular, indices plural. You need indices for everything. You have to put them everything interpreted in terms of mathematics. Then only you can compare. Otherwise it's difficult. The social and economic dimensions of a country are based on the health of people. So, what are the dimensions we should have? How should we figure it out? First one is health of people. How far the people are healthy. I told from 18 years, our life expectancy has reached 69 years now. Big achievement. Over years, how it has happened. Can we push it further? Can we make it 75 over the next 3 or 4 years? Can we make it 80? We reach the standard of the developed nations. We are very close now. We know the art of it, the skills involved. We do it. But all these need measures. So first is health of people. Second, their level of education attainment. I said, bring all the children to school, educate them. Everyone in India should be able to read and write. For adults, you have adult education. For children, you have compulsory, universalized compulsory education. In the next 5 years or 10 years, the entire country should be an educated one. Everyone should be able to read and write and understand, because people who have crossed 21 years, they vote. They vote in the elections. As they vote in the elections, they need to be literate. They need to be literate. In other words, the Human Development Index is practiced to measure how development has improved human life. Now we vote at the age of 18 itself. Earlier it was 21, now it is 18, because more and more students have got educated, and we believe even the wisdom of the youngsters, the teenagers, so it's been brought down to 18 now. Okay, human development. Now one more. What's that? And their standard of living. First one was health, second one education, third one standard of living. What kind of standard of living do you have? Do you have a house? Do you have the required facilities? I don't speak of recreation and all. Minimum requirements. How much do you have? How good is your life? Okay, 3 aspects. Standard of living. In other words, the Human Development Index is practiced to measure how development has improved human life. How far the country has been able to be successful in moving towards the goal. Look at this picture, beautiful, illustrated one to make you understand very well. We repeated the same thing 3 or 4 times already. Once again, let us learn it with the help of this illustration. What is the first one? Life expectancy at birth. A child is born in your house today. How many years can he live in this country? Do you say, how do I know, sir? No. You have average life expectancy that tells you that you can live on average up to that life. How much is it now? 69 years. If you give him the proper food, nutrition, balanced food, take care of the baby, mother's milk, ensure, if you take all these, educate him, bring him up, he can live up to 69 years. On average, that's the life expectancy of a person in our country. That is one of the parameters or indicators of development, human development in our country. Second one, average education level. See, here he is sitting with the book. Provide education for all. He has to get the average education. Today we say up to SSLC. At least up to 10th standard, every child has to get educated. We have compulsory promotion system. From class to class they are promoted. It's not just getting a pass in the exam. We want a total personality improvement of the child to become a worthy citizen of the country. Average education level. And the third one, standard of living. I said, gross national produce per capita. Capita means head. Per individual, per head, what is GNP on average? How much is it? These 3 indicators, if worked out, calculated properly, will be able to explain the standard of your nation. How good you are prospering. So HDI it is called as. Remember, HDI encompasses 3 aspects. One is health, second one is education, third one is, what's it? The third one, standard of living. How good is his life? How well is he living? Next, life expectancy. It is the age which a particular person belonging to a particular age is expected to live. It is 69 years as it stands in India. Again, between men and women there is a difference. Women almost live up to 70, men live up to 67 point something. There is a difference. Maybe because of accidents or exposure to all the problems outside. They will be dying about 2.5 years earlier than women on average. But general figure is 69. Infant mortality rate. Infant is the baby. The newborn baby is the infant. Infants die. It is the total number of infants dying below the age of 1 year out of 1,000 babies. Everything you see when you speak of, I just told you infant mortality. Now we are speaking in terms of mathematics. Everything is being put in terms of mathematics. How many infants within the age of 1 year, within the age of 12 months after their birth, die for every 1,000? 1,000 births have taken place in this area, in this district, over, say in this taluk, over the last 1 year. Alright, 1,000 are born. How many died? How many did not see their first birthday? How many did not see their first birthday? Now that figure will give you infant mortality rate. It should be as low as possible. Number of deaths should go down. That speaks about our health facility. Infant mortality rate in India is 40.5 infants. Out of every 1,000 infants, 40 infants born do not see their first birthday. This figure has to go down further. From 40, 35, 30, 25, it has to come down. Our health parameters in the country have to improve. Let's come to maternal mortality rate. This is mother's health. Pregnant mothers who deliver the babies, how about their health? It is the total number of dying mothers out of 1,000 mothers while giving birth to babies. Mothers, as they give birth to babies, their health is paramount. But some mothers do die. Maybe because of lack of medical help or the infrastructure, or maybe for some other reason, the nutritional aspect, weakness. See, there are different reasons. Or they may contract some epidemic, or their health may suddenly fail due to low blood pressure or some reason. Okay, whatever it be, now in India, according to 2011-13 census, maternal mortality rate in India was 167 deaths. What do you mean by that? Out of every 1,000 women who give birth to babies, 167 mothers die. They die in the hospital or at home. This 167 has to come down, further come down. Why should they lose their life? What are the reasons? Analysis has to go on. Steps have to be taken up. And health infrastructure has to reach the doorstep of each and every house. And we should see we don't lose even a single mother at the time of the baby's delivery. Okay, here are three aspects. Fourth one, adult literacy ratio. It refers to the number of people of both sexes, male and female, aging more than 15 years, having the ability to read and write. All people who are 15 years should be able to read and write. That is our hope. That is our target. We aim and we work for that. Percentage of the population below poverty line. People below the poverty line are categorized according to calories. Now, how to say somebody is below poverty line or above poverty line? Most scientific way of working out is to find out how much of food does he consume every day. Not quantity wise, quality wise. What is the quality of food that one takes in? See, according to calories consumed by each person per day, which is 2,400 calories in rural areas. 2,400 calories of food a person in a rural area consumes, and 2,100 calories in urban areas. This is at present. So based on that we find out how many people are undernourished, how many people get the required food. People below the poverty line are categorized according to calories consumed by each person per day, which is 2,400 minimum. A rural person should consume 2,400 calories per day. An urban person, because less of manual work, 2,100 calories. Any person consuming calories less than the minimum limits are put here, mentioned above, is said to be below the poverty line. See, they have found out a scientific way of working it out. It's not based on the kind of rich life you lead. It is based on the quality food you consume that you have decided. We decide whether you are BPL or APL, below the poverty line or above the poverty line. See here, dimensions and indicators. This is the last chart we like to analyze, see and analyze. Dimensions and indicators, they have been put here. Again you learnt now. You learnt this. Once again we are trying to imprint it. Reinforcement. You are learning it again and again in different fashions. Longevity. We said life expectancy. Life expectancy at birth. Index of population, health and longevity. That's parameter number 1. Index number 1. 2. Knowledge and education. Every child is to get educated, should be able to read and write. Yeah. You may not be able to read here because of the red color. It's getting reflected. Minimum education that the children should get up to 10th standard till they are 15 year. Every child who is 15 years should be able to read and write and understand his responsibilities. Third one, standard of living. Standard of living. Natural logarithm of gross domestic product, GDP, per capita at purchasing power parity, PPP in US dollars. US dollars or Indian rupees. You have to work out how much money does an average Indian earn. So national income of that year divided by the population of the country, you get per capita income. So these are the 3 indicators of HDI. Human Development Index. It is worked out based on these 3 aspects. Thank you.